Alright guys, which cities, well first off let's talk about population density. Who has a good definition for what population density is? How about Adam? What'd you say?
It's the amount of people per certain amount of land.
Does that sound about right? So you've got the population divided by the certain amount of the area there, right? So to know population density, you need to know population, but then you'd also need to know a certain amount of land area, right? So we're going to measure it in square miles, okay? So a square mile is a mile this way, a mile that way. How many people you fit into a square mile? So thinking about globally, in the whole entire world, where do you think, which cities do you think have the highest population density? Who thinks they have an educated guess? Yes, go, come on. New York is, nope, not on my list. There's only one city from the U.S. that's in the top 25. Go ahead, Mikkel.
Our guess is for Dubai and
Let's see, Dubai sounds like a good one. But let me, I have to like, no, I'm not seeing Dubai on this. Sorry. And Hong Kong, I don't think is on the top 25 either. Those are good guesses, but no. Someone else, top 25.
wait, there's only one in the States?
So don't guess United States, you won't guess it.
Somewhere in Florida.
Texas?
Don't guess the US one. You'll never get it.
Tokyo?
San Francisco.
Tokyo.
Tokyo is not in the top 25.
Mumbai.
Did you say Mumbai?
Yeah.
Let's try that one. Mumbai is in the top 25. Was that Adam? Come get a pride coupon. Mumbai is number 5. They have 83,660 people in a square mile. So think of 1 mile by 1 mile. They detected 83,000. Are you kidding me? Go ahead, Joshua Lynn. Delhi? Yeah.
New Delhi.
I'm trying to come up. How do you spell? Is that D-E-L-H-I? I'm not seeing Delhi on here. Sorry. That's a good guess.
Isn't it?
So India has 2. Mumbai was 1. So it wasn't Delhi. Yes. I don't think. I'm trying to see if China is even on here. China's not even in the top 25. They have a huge population, but it's not as condensed as some of these others. Anyone else? We've only had one guess. Come on. Okay, I'm just going to start telling you. The top 3 are from the same country in the Philippines.
Oh.
So we have Manila, has 119,600 people in 1 square mile. Isn't that ridiculous? Then there's 2 other Philippines. Then Baghdad, Iraq. We had Mumbai. We have in Bangladesh, a city called Dhaka. Another Philippines, Haiti, Israel, and then 3 from France, Pakistan, another France, another Philippines, Kolkata, India. So Delhi was a good guess, but Kolkata. And then more France, Belgium, Nepal, Malaysia, Greece, Maldives. The United States one is a city called Gutenberg in New Jersey. I don't think you guys would have ever gotten it. Alright, so let me show you a map. This is showing where the highest population densities in the world are, okay? So now, where do we see the most population density? Where are we looking at? Like India, right? And like, I believe like Iraq is in that mix somewhere, like Baghdad. China has a huge amount there. This is Philippines, right? Is that Philippines right there? Like geography quiz.
Yeah.
It's the one across from.
Philippines right here.
The one like south
Somewhere.
China and Japan and then
Yeah, it's
I think
not-
this is Indonesia.
Yeah, that's in.
So Philippines right there.
yeah.
Lots of people there. Tell me, why is no one right here? What about right here?
Cold.
Right here?
Cold.
frozen wastelands. And then in here,
Middle
You-
of nowhere.
see that little dot right there? That's us.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me show you another visual. I thought this one was pretty cool. They tried to make it three-dimensional. But that's showing it kind of like the more people, the more this kind of visual gives. And again, it's like you've got a lot of people in India and that area, and then China, and then Indonesia, Philippines. And you can almost like make out the shape of Africa here, but again, the Sahara's nothing there. There's deserts right down there. And then you don't even, Canada doesn't even exist. Just no Canada there, right? There's us. Woohoo! Alright, so what we're going to do today, guys, is we're going to talk about population density and how to calculate density in general. So, turn to your neighbor and I want you to answer this question. What if I said, I want you to figure out the population density of this classroom? How would you figure it out? Go.
How many people in the classroom? And the length or the area of the classroom.
In 10 seconds. Alright. Sticks of Destiny and Charlie. Charlie, how would you find the population density of this classroom? How would you find the area? Measurement, right? It's basically a rectangle, right? So we could just do length and width. How about we just make it easy? How many people are in here? Did anyone count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, plus the student didn't do their homework, so they are tied up and hiding in there because they're in trouble. Just kidding, bad joke. And me, 19. All right, now you want to look at me, don't you? Hey. All right, so we would say there are 19 students, or 19 people per room. Did I include myself? I thought I did. So here we go, density, for population density, we take our total population and we divide it by the area or volume of the region. How do you know if it's area or volume? You kind of have to put it into the context of the problem, okay? Let's look at just Utah. This data was from a couple years ago, 2014. But at the time, Utah's population was about 84,899 people per square. Or Utah had that area, 84,899 square miles, and the population was just under 3 million. I believe we've just passed 3 million. So what was the approximate population of density of Utah? You've got a calculator. Figure it out with your neighbor, but also use appropriate units. Alright, so Josh, tell me what you're doing here. What's your thought process? What's our formula for figuring out population density? Okay, so what's the total population for Utah as of this date? And then, when you guys did that, what did you get? 34 point what? Now that would be 34.7 what? People per square mile or per mile squared. Nice job. Okay, cool. That's the population right now, you could just Google and say, hey, what's the population density of Utah? Let's not do, or of West Valley, let's not do that. I want someone to Google what is the population of West Valley, and someone to Google what is the area of West Valley, and then we'll do the math ourselves. You get what I'm saying? So get out your phone. Someone who's going to ask Siri, Allie, which one are you looking up? Okay, who's looking up area? Okay,
Okay, out of 2019, there's 1,306, and
1,306.
that doesn't seem.
9. Yeah, that's what it says. And also something. And 136, 0. Yeah.
Okay. 136,000. 9. I thought you said 1,036. I'm like, doesn't seem right. Okay, who's got the area? Go ahead.
It says 35.88 miles.
That's the area of West Valley, about 35.88 square miles. So if we divide 136,009 by 35.88, what do we get? Today, 3,007. And again, that would be people per mile square. Okay, wait. Does that seem right? I mean, for Utah, it was only 34. That means if I were to divide this up into square miles, I could evenly spread out everyone to 35-ish per square mile. But West Valley, it's 3,790. Hiram, you said that made sense. How does that make sense? Yeah, if we were to go and look up population density, or if we were to take this map here and make it a population density map, where are we going to see people? Yeah, we're going to see people basically along I-15. We've got Brigham City, Ogden, a lot of people here, and then it's like, then we've got people along I-15, right? That's basically it, right? There's some in the other cities, but our population density is pretty low. How come? What's the rest of the state? Desert wasteland, right? So there's not a whole lot of room for everyone in the whole state, but where we get water, we got people there, right? Makes sense. Okay, cool. So now I want you to look at this one. This one could be a little bit different. You just purchased a 33-gallon tank. You want a lot of fish, but you want them healthy, so you follow the rule of thumb, 1 inch of fish per gallon of water. If the average tropical fish reaches 2.5 inches, how many fish should you purchase? So let's think on this one again. This one's going to be a little bit different, because is this going to be using area or volume? Volume. So imagine that you've got your fish tank here. 33 gallons, right? So we got, if we were to look at 1 gallon, we've got 33 of those. And how much inch of fish do we want per gallon of water? 1 inch of fish per gallon. So if the average tropical fish is 2.5 inches, how many gallons does that fish need? 2.5, right? So now talk with your neighbors. So how many fish could we fit into a 33-gallon fish tank? Does that make sense? Try to figure this one out, and then I'll see who wants to explain it for everybody. Okay, who's got a solution for me? Somebody? Hey, and I'm looking at you. Oh no, Mikkel, you raised hand. You got saved there. I'll get you next time. Go ahead, Mikkel. What are you thinking?
With 13,
How'd you come up with that?
it's 33 gallons divided by 2.5 inches, and then about 13.
Okay, so hold the phone here. Why did you divide this 33 gallons by 2.5 inches? What does that do for you?
What it does is it's dividing the amount of gallons available and the size of the fish, tell you how many fish you can fit in the tank.
And is that how you got 13?
Yes.
What do you guys think? We said that we need at least a gallon of water per inch of fish. If the average length is 2.5 inches, then we're going to need 2.5 gallons. Let's divide the 33 gallons by those 2.5 gallons, we get 13. So we could fit 13 fish in that aquarium and still follow that rule of thumb. Kind of using those same formulas we've been doing. Okay, let's go ahead. We're going to talk a little bit about density. How many of you guys went to Hunter Junior High? How many Hawks we got in here? Whoop whoop. How many Crusaders do we got in here? So I went to Hunter Junior. I'm a Hawk. Do you know the school song?
No.
We are the Hawks. Fearless and free.
Yeah, we never even did it.
Spirit was like, kind of all time.
Come on, guys. My wife was a Crusader, and so we go back and forth saying, like, which one's better? The Hawks or the Crusaders?
Probably
The
Crusaders.
Hawks were definitely better at writing essays, but the Crusaders were definitely better with their grammar. So, they have that going for them. Nobody, Kennedy, they used to take their kids to, like, New York. Like, they used to have these questy field trips that were amazing. Did you guys do those?
They
The
stopped.
hell went to New York?
The principal there is mean and sucks.
That's too bad. Anyway, for those who went to Hunter Junior, did any of you have Mr. Okeson?
What?
Did he retire?
Mr. Oaks?
Okay, not Oaks, Okeson. So when I went to Hunter Junior, there was a teacher there named Mr. Okeson, and I think he just retired not too long ago, so I wasn't sure if you guys had him or not. He was famous for being in love with density. He had lava lamps in his rooms, and he was always fascinated
Did you
by
ever do him, Mr.
density.
Walker?
Okay, density. What does density even mean, guys? Well, you can look at the boards here, right? But one of the things that he taught me that I don't think I'll ever forget is how to calculate density. He's like, guys, I love density. Density is love. And he's like, that's the equation, because watch this. Density is mass over volume. Isn't that great? So anyway, if we were trying to calculate density, we do mass over volume. Well, did that apply for population density? Instead of mass, what did we do? The population, that's kind of like mass, and instead of volume, we did area. So it's similar, right? So we're going to talk about it in other respects, okay? We're going to talk about density in regards to, like, other things. So I put this drink here where they took different drinks, and I don't know if you can really see that with the, let me move this over here. How come different beverages, or different juices, I should say, why do they layer like this? Because some are more dense. What does that mean, Adam? What does it mean to be dense? I said that the other day, and someone said, that's rude. Don't call people dense. Like, I didn't say you were dense. I'm saying more compact, I like it, right? The amount of molecules in there are squeezed tighter together, okay? So, think of something not necessarily liquid. What's something that is not very dense? What was that? A feather? And someone else? What's something that's not very dense? Air, okay. Do you know what my favorite one is? Styrofoam. You don't understand the power of styrofoam. Name the movie. Yes, good job. Have you not seen both? Styrofoam, it weakens me. It's amazing. Anyway, styrofoam, think of styrofoam. Can you just crush that together and make it smaller? well, you could, right? Usually it just flakes off and makes whatever. But styrofoam is super not dense, right? It is not compact. Give me an example of something that is dense. That is concrete. What else? Maybe like metal, like, yeah, like those engines in a car, right? Okay, so, uh-oh, I didn't want to do that. What we're going to do is when we're talking about density, maybe one way to measure it is by basically saying, is it more dense than water or is it less dense than water? If it's more dense than water, what happens if you put it in water? It sinks. What if it's less dense? Okay, so we're going to kind of look at a couple of these. Now when we're looking at this, our cutoff here is that basically water has a density of exactly 1. Okay? Because as we do the mass over the volume, it gives you 1, okay? So if our density is greater than 1, what's going to happen? That means it's more dense than water, so it... Whereas if it's above 1, then it's... Okay, so here's an example here, okay? We have 3 substances, granite, koa wood, and ice. And what we're going to do is we're going to figure out the density. And what's our formula for density? Draw a heart, mass over volume. Okay, so I'm going to take this piece of wood that has a mass. So for granite, it has a mass of 250 grams. That's its mass. And the volume of it is 100 centimeter cubes. 100 cubic centimeters. If I divide 250 by 100, I get 2.5. You guys don't need a calculator for that, right? Is that greater than or less than 1? So what's going to happen if you throw granite into a lake? Yeah, we can all visualize that, right? Rocks are going to sink to the bottom because they have a much higher density than water. What about wood? This piece of koa wood. Just in general, if you threw a stick into the water, what do you think is going to happen? Let's see if that's true. So here I'm going to take 800 and divide it by 1189. Someone tell me what you got there? 0.67? That's less than 1, so what is that piece of wood going to do? Okay, now what about ice? What do you think ice is going to do? Usually when we see icebergs, where are they? They're floating, but then you've heard that saying that the majority of the iceberg is below, so it's kind of like they're floating, but they're also somewhat down. I don't know, let's see. I'm going to take 33 over 36. I could reduce that to 11/12, but what is that as a decimal? Someone help me out there. 9.2? Is that what I'm hearing? So is that pretty close to 1? Yeah, it's fairly close, but it's still less than, so what is the ice going to do? Okay, it's all about density, okay? Someone read this comic. Go for it, Allie. We don't really see this in West Valley quite as big, but man, some of those other places in Salt Lake, and they're just expanding like crazy. It's nuts. Anyway, let's talk about this. A small town of 3.45 square miles has a population of blank. What is the population density? Brinley, how would we figure that out? Awesome. Micah, what did you get for that?
7,600.
And let's do units here. That would be people per what? Square mile. I'll put mile squared like that. Hey, that was easy, right? Not too bad. Okay, let's go on to the next one. Ooh, now I like this one, okay?